Oh, there it goes. Man, it did not want to start the stream tonight. I guess that's going to give us a glimpse into how tonight's going to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, hi, guys. Welcome to the show. This is Monkey in the Morning. I'm Monkey. He's Jack. Say hi, Jack.
Hi, everybody.
Jack, it's been a little while. How the hell you been, my friend?
Don't ask. How have you been?
Mostly good. I've been in a lot of pain, but that's because I've been doing things and getting to see my family and stuff. So it's worth it. I'm happy.
Oh, glad to hear it.
Yeah. So it's been. I mean, I miss doing this, but yeah, the sitting in this chair is just painful the last few days. But I'm feeling much better now. While we were off the air, thank you, the fourth, who says, "Hey, Monk, never get to catch you live. My birthday was 2 days ago. Can I get a song? Have to Jack." It's a double feminist donation.
Ooh.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Unless he's not here to sing, but he is here to sing. So the fourth, this one's for you. And a one.
Hang on. Hang on. I gotta mute the switch tabs and the stream started auto playing.
Gotcha. The fourth.
The fourth? Okay.
The fourth. This one is for you. And a one. And a two. Happy
birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to the fourth.
Happy
birthday to you. And we have one more. Irish. I'm just going to call you Irish on here. I hope that's okay, because I can't even pronounce the last part of your name there. Irish's birthday is today, so Irish, this one is for you. And a one, and a two. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy
birthday, dear Irish.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, guys. Hope you had great ones or have a great one, as the case may be. Birthdays, man. Love the birthdays. It is time to talk about the stupid that's been going on in the world since we last spoke, Jack. And boy, howdy, is there a lot of it.
Indeed.
We got markets crashing. We got war escalating. We got women getting beaten by men and people cheering and defending it. It's been a crazy ride, man.
That's just the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
And we got like wars and rumors of wars, cats and dogs living together, plagues, everything's falling apart. Japan's economy almost completely collapsed last night.
Yeah. They've had a rough go there, which is having massive effects on South Korea.
Yeah.
And global markets in general. And a lot of it comes back to the U.S. economy, because our economy is tanking right now and nobody's paying attention.
No, you'd think that would be massive news all over the world. But it's not here in the States because it's an election year.
No, we got to get Kamala elected, and we can't talk about how bad the economy is with her, because hey, there was some stock market gains here in the United States a couple weeks ago, and new records, which, by the way, new records in the stock market don't mean much at all anymore.
Unless they're bad ones.
In reality, housing is down. New home building is down. The tech sector's taking a huge fucking hit right now. But it's okay, because the Krasensteins assured me that if you think there's anything wrong with the economy, you just don't know economics. I'm not making that up.
Yeah, they're the last ones that I'm gonna trust.
Yeah, right. They've both gone in heavy on crypto. I don't know if you know that. That's their new
scam.
Fraud.
I mean, investment. Look, crypto took a big hit too, so I don't know. Might be a good time to buy. I don't know. I'm not a financial advisor.
Me neither. If you have the money and you can weather the storm, you always buy low.
Yeah. I was briefly exchanging with Taylor Day earlier, and she said, "Do I buy now or when people are jumping out of windows?" And I was like, "Windows every time."
Definitely, that's how you know it's time to buy, when you hear this flat.
That's rock bottom pricing right there,
with a metaphor to go with it.
Yeah, like free of charge metaphor.
Thank you over on the Streamlabs. Tucker is coming through with that feminist $12. The only stock that is doing well is Lockheed Martin. No reason for concern. Yeah, they're gearing up. Let's say it that way. Monk is alive. Yeah, I am, and I am sorry we haven't done shows. There's been lots to talk about, tons to talk about.
Yeah,
and the only reason is I was trying to get some sleep and hanging out with family. I didn't sleep well, Jack. So
I did not sleep for about 48 hours of that. Dad came home from rehab.
Oh, how's he doing?
He's back in the hospital.
Oh, damn, man.
Yeah, he was home for 2 days, slightly over that, almost 2.5. And it's one of those situations where it looks like, people hold out for milestones.
Yeah.
It's kind of looking like that because he's gotten significantly worse over the last 24 hours.
Oh, damn, dude. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so they're talking about putting him in a home. And he had trouble remembering our conversation today when I talked to him. So I have been told that I should not have a lot of cheery disposition about what's happening now.
Understood. That sucks, though.
So, yeah. So that's what's going on with me. That's the 5 days I've had while we were off. But I don't think I thanked the fourth for the donation that he gave us. So thank you, sir. The fourth, sir, ma'am, whatever. Appreciate it. But Jordan, the world's falling apart, dude.
Jordan says, after watching everything in the world unfurl, I figured Monk pulled a Rip Van Winkle. No, you can't blame this on me. I did not sleep much.
Dude, if you ever go in a coma, we're all going to die.
This one wasn't me, I promise. The stock market, the Asian stock market, that might have been me. I don't know what time their markets open or their future trading opens. That one might be on me, y'all. But the stuff in the Middle East, that wasn't me. That's not me. I didn't kill no Jews or anything recently, or ever, I should say.
I was gonna say you might want to be a little more specific on that one. Did you happen to notice that there were no planes allowed to fly over Israeli airspace for almost 48 hours?
Yeah. We also had Lebanon bombing him again?
Yeah. They're talking about there was going to be a retaliatory strike from Iran and Hezbollah today.
Yeah, that's
tonight.
With that, you have Lindsey Graham out there like, we need to blow up Iran. Like, fuck. Because they had a meeting in the White House Situation Room tonight with Biden and Kamala, who apparently got kicked out early, which is funny. Before the meeting, there's all this talk on social media about how, look, they have Kamala in there, and she's always the last one in with the president anytime there's an important meeting. And then they have this Situation Room meeting specifically about what's going on in the Middle East right now. And Fox News is live when it's happening, and Ducey's up there, and he's like, yeah, we can actually see the vice president's motorcade leaving right now. While the meeting they kicked the bitch out.
Yeah, because she's useless. She doesn't understand anything, and she doesn't bother to do her prep. So if you're not going to do the work to learn about the situation, you're going to have nothing to contribute. And then you start saying circular things like, electric buses are neat. I like electric buses.
Well, Biden has enough trouble concentrating as it is. Can you imagine how hard it is to keep his attention when she's cackling like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and she's going to try and chime in with opinions that are irrelevant. It's going to get very distracting and way more difficult.
Well, he's trying to concentrate on, anything, and she's cackling, and he's looking for the knob to turn up the TV because it's his favorite episode of Batman.
Yeah.
Thank you, God Rady. Do you think the U.S. will start making building nets like China, to save future office slaves? No, because you have to remember, liberals want us to depopulate. So they'll be like, let them jump. They'll be fine. Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah. So Miss Kamala gets kicked out of the, they're not calling it kicked out, but nobody's exactly saying why she left early. It is telling, though, because you got to remember right now, Kamala is the default president right now.
Yeah.
she's been the one coming out giving speeches about what's going on. It hasn't been Biden.
Joe in a while.
Yeah, Biden's been well hidden. They're like, he's asleep. Don't worry about it. And to see her leave the meeting early, especially knowing what a bitch she is, and guys, that's not me saying it. That's everybody who's ever had to work with her.
Yeah.
I do wonder if maybe there was something said, some how do I put this? Some suggestion made about how to deal with this stuff that she knows will be bad for her campaign.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, guys. Almost everybody knows Shapiro's going to be her pick. I still can't believe that's what they're going with. And I'm holding out hope she goes with my governor because I don't like being wrong, you know?
Of course.
Thank you, God Rady. 5 for Jack, extra for transfer price. Also, I won't be online for the next 10 days. Please sign on the 15th for me. Or sing, I guess is what it's supposed to. It says sign. I read it properly. Y'all can look at it. It's on screen right now. On the 10th, I will do my best to, or on the 15th, I'll do my best to remember, dude. And if we don't, when you get back, remind me. Thank you so much for the donation.
Thanks, God Ready. Hope everything's okay.
So the thinking, because of a unvetted accidental report comes out and says Josh Shapiro is going to be the VP. Everybody just kind of went, okay, it's going to be Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. They're supposed to be making the announcement sometime today, Jack.
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania.
Oh. Wonder if that's connected.
But what could possibly upset Kamala where she would leave a meeting on the Middle East early with the possibility of Shapiro being her VP? Can we suss that one out and see if we can figure out what the White House might be thinking or leaning towards that would upset Kamala enough to leave when she's about to pick the first Jewish guy to be vice president? That's a thinker right there. That's a I don't know how to tell. What could they possibly be telegraphing there? Hey, Jews, you're about to get a whole bunch of money from us. You're welcome. She had a sorority meeting. It is amazing how many things she's had to miss because she had to go talk to sororities.
That's true. Real quick. Thank you, Retro Gamer, for the feminist donation. Hi, Jack. Ever notice no one ever says half the monkey? Half the monkey, LOL. Thanks, Retro. I'll make sure he gets that.
Sorry, I had muted because I was making noise back here and you stopped talking before I was ready for that. How dare you not anticipate my needs?
Boy, if I had $1 every time somebody said that.
Oh, good God. All right, let's see. I don't even know who to bring up about Shapiro because I don't really care. Otherwise, let's see. This one just says, just picking Shapiro probably won't win Pennsylvania for Harris. Or will it?
Dun, dun, dun.
I do not see. Right. I don't see how you. What? How did I reach my ability to read articles from this? I've never been to this site before. Go fuck yourselves. All right, we'll use this one instead. I just want to put something on the screen so people have stuff to look at besides us. I know we're pretty and all that, but this one. This one says rival Democrats line up to tank Shapiro's Veep state chances. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know who this grumpy fucker is all the way over on the right or on the left. Sorry. And I don't know who the gay dude is on the right. Oh, that's Bashir. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know who he is. Oh, that's Walls. Oh, Walls. See, I'm not as familiar with governors as I need to be right now, Jack.
Yeah. Well, none of us are.
But this is Kelly on the second from the left. That's the senator from Arizona whose wife got shot. Don't forget that.
Yeah. Gun violence. Guns bad.
Notice how as the Trump assassination leaves the media, Kelly's name has really gone out of it.
Yeah.
I told you guys they did that shit on purpose. They were out there putting Kelly's name out there so that they could go, hey, his wife got shot too. It's so disgusting. I've
Well,
never
they're
heard
bad
anybody.
people.
I've never heard people talk about Kelly as anything other than a senator until Trump gets shot. And then they're like, yeah, we got to have Kelly out there. Kelly's a moron.
Yeah, they only talk about it when somebody gets shot.
Yeah. Is there anything notable about Shapiro besides being Jewish? He is the former AG, I believe, of Pennsylvania. And he's got quite the record there. There's a case out there, and I wish I could remember the girl's name. But, Jack, she was stabbed 20 times in the head, neck, and chest. 10 of them in the back of her head and neck. And it was ruled as suicide.
Yeah. It sounds like an Arkansas suicide.
And when Shapiro's the AG, it comes with her family. This is going on for 10 years. Her family is desperate to get this ruled as something other than a suicide so an investigation can be done. And Shapiro's office went, no, that looks like a suicide to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like a sexual harassment claims, there's nothing to see here.
The entirety of the suicide claim comes from the fact that she was in her apartment alone, and her boyfriend, her fiance at the time, has to come break in the door, and they had one of those locks like you have on a hotel, the little swing lock, which can only be locked from inside, which is true unless you use a string.
But I bet there weren't even any windows to crawl out of.
Actually, there weren't. There was a major snowstorm that came through, and none of the snow on the balcony was touched. So whoever did it came in and out that front door. But here's the thing.
So they had a key?
He was alone when he broke the door in. And again, you can pull one of those locks closed with a string. It didn't even take that much.
Well, first question is the boyfriend related to anyone important?
Yes, actually, yes. His family is pretty uppity in, I forget which, is it in Philadelphia or is it in Pittsburgh? I think it's Pittsburgh. But yeah, his family is uppity and Shapiro is at least friendly with them.
Somebody got a big donation.
Nothing to see here. But she stabbed herself 10 times in the back of the head and in the neck.
Yeah, that's the Vince Foster stabbing.
So there's actually quite a few questionable things about his stuff. We'll find out more when he's picked later today. Because it does really look like it's going to be him. And I can't believe Kamala. I said this, and I have nothing against Jewish people. Please understand, every time we, say, oh, the fucking Jews, it's always a joke. Which, by the way, did you see the Jews were proven right about the UN over there in Gaza?
Yep. Some UN folks were helping with the October 7th attacks.
Wait. You got to be careful on how you say helping. Part of the actual murderers. We're not talking logistics help here. They weren't going, go to Goldstein's house. It's on 3rd and Ishmael. I don't know what the names of streets are in Israel.
Ishmael.
The fuck is wrong with me? Anyway, they were active participants in October 7th. This is a report that comes out yesterday where there'd been a charge that up to 19 of them were, but for sure 9 of them actually were involved. So all of that shit about, no, the Jews are just attacking the UN, and the Jews going, yeah, but it's because they're terrorists. How dare you? How dare you? Oh, yeah, I mean, it's true, but how dare you point it out?
Yeah, it's not cool to point these things out, man.
3rd and Ishmael, goddamn it. Look, I was reaching for something Jewish, and Ishmael was what came to mind.
Ishmael was the closest you could come up with, huh?
What else is more? If I said Ishmael Jones, you would know I'm talking about a Jewish guy.
I would assume you're doing a new rendition of Moby Dick.
That's a black Jew right there, Ishmael Jones. It's
I'd
Sammy
watch that
Davis.
movie, but
Anyhow, yeah. So I cannot believe that the campaign is serious. I realize they need Pennsylvania. Kamala needs Pennsylvania to win, and he is the somewhat popular governor of the state right now. He just won the election 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I can't get over the comparisons to 1968, Jack. I really can't. 68 was a bad year for Democrats. They had actual riots in Chicago. Hey, Jack, where are they doing the DNC this year?
Oh, it's in Chicago, Monkey.
In Chicago, wherein the unpopular candidate is the one that they're putting up there because the candidate they wanted, in that case, he dropped out, but not of his own free will. Which, again, I mean, Biden didn't want to drop out here, and Jill sure as fuck didn't want him to drop out.
Yeah.
So you have the also ran, who's going to be their nominee. You have, at the time, the escalation of the Vietnam War. In this case, we have the escalation of the war over there in Gaza. And you have a whole bunch of protesters who were planning to go to Chicago on the Middle Eastern question. I'm just saying, if you're in Chicago, what is it, next week or the week after, whenever the DNC is, go for a week. Come to Michigan for a week. You do not want to be in Chicago next week.
Yeah.
They're going to set the place on fire. Hey, Nuts, how you doing, sweetie?
Hi, Stargazer. Real quick. Oh, sorry.
In addition to that, she's going to throw fuel on that fire by picking a Jew as a running mate.
Yeah, when they've been catering to the Muslim groups for so long,
yeah,
then you're gonna slap them in the face with your wiener, saying, "I'm gonna pick a Jewish guy." And it's not even Ben Shapiro,
right? Did you have a donation there?
Yes. Thank you, Evolved Potato. Just wanted to point out something you're missing. Some of those stabs were determined to be done post-mortem, i.e.,
Yes.
she apparently stabbed herself after she died. Because blood works differently after you're dead. Yep. But, look, some people, they turn into spooky ghosts and they get stabby.
Yeah, that part of it is, it wasn't the original autopsy. The original, that case is so weird. Originally, it's ruled a homicide because, of course. And then the police are like, no, we think it's a suicide. So the medical examiner went, well, I guess it's a suicide. Again, it's all based on that lock.
Yeah.
Several medical examiners have looked at this, and one of them noticed, even though she stabbed herself in the spine, didn't hit the spinal cord itself, but the sac and stuff around it get cut. There's no blood in it. So she wasn't bleeding at the time. Because she was dead, the heart doesn't pump.
Yeah.
So, and they're like, no, she had magical blood, something. Yeah, that case is fucking weird. I went and I read a whole bunch on it when I first heard of it, maybe a week ago. And yeah, that's a really weird case.
He should go on Scarborough and explain to himself.
Why are you so sure it'll be Shapiro? Just based on everything we're hearing.
Yeah, look, they're going to make the announcement in Pennsylvania for one.
Yeah, I think in Philly is where they're doing it.
Yeah.
Does that mean Does that mean it's definitely going to be him? No. But one thing I haven't seen is anybody from the Kamala campaign come out and vigorously deny this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember when they were pushing Stacey Abrams as Biden's person, and he gets asked about it live, and he's like, "No, they haven't even done that." Comrade Kitty, thank you so much for becoming a member for month number 13. Is she part black with that magical Negro blood? She might be. She might be. I mean, she stabbed herself And the final stabbing being right directly in the heart, and leaving the knife there. She pulled out of everywhere else, but she just, you know what, that's what it was. She just has really bad eyesight, and she kept trying to hit her heart, accidentally hit the back of her neck several times.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird when you can't see and you're in a violent rage against yourself.
Yeah, not everybody's an anatomy specialist, Monkey.
Yeah, yeah, true. I thought my heart was in my brain. Ugh. I just don't understand how stuff like that happens. It's like the Arkansas, those two kids in Arkansas on the train tracks, the boys on the tracks.
Yeah.
I don't understand how some of this stuff, even if you're trying to cover something up, right? How you get to a point where you have a medical examiner who says a dog ate somebody's head
Like
and
it did.
it up later
Well,
intact.
let's not forget the guy that hung himself and shot himself with a shotgun, and the shotgun wasn't there.
Yeah, come up
Uh,
with a better lie.
they know it's going to disappear out of the media, and nobody's going to look too deep, especially if these people are connected. So they were hoping to sweep this whole thing under the rug, and the media is still doing a good job of hiding it. So it's going to go away.
Why not go with the some Puerto Rican guy? You know what I mean? Have a theory that's like, oh yeah, there was some random stranger did this. Not the guy hung himself and then shot himself in the chest with a 12 gauge and then hid the gun.
Oh, because this way, if it's declared a suicide, the case gets closed and all the evidence gets thrown out.
Yeah,
Anything they collected will be discarded and destroyed. So you can
they
never
don't
look
dig
into it
any
again.
further.
Yeah, any accidental blood of the killer that they picked up from him slicing his hand or anything be long gone by the time somebody actually gets this changed.
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot more to say about Shapiro other than I do think that this probably tells us something about what happened in that meeting today. I think the Biden team is going to come out and announce more support for Israel. And Kamala knows that that's going to hurt her because she's about to nominate this idiot for her VP, and that it's going to cause a lot of backlash against her.
Yeah, well, she needs
can't
Shapiro.
Go ahead.
She needs Shapiro to win Pennsylvania because that's a massive swing state, and she's counting on all the Muslims in Michigan to vote for her.
She can't be brat with a Jewish guy on the ticket when her whole party right now is against Israel.
Yeah.
This is a bad thing for her. It really is politically. An escalation of the war over there, and especially with full-throated U.S. support, what's she going to do? There's only so many times she can come out and say, hey, what happened to Israel was bad, but please stop being mean to the Muslims. Which, by the way, she's done at least twice publicly. Anyhow, Jack, there's other stuff going on in the world as well. And I kind of want to talk about the Olympics because we briefly touched on it and I didn't know enough at the time, so we didn't dig into it. About these two boxers who were beating up women. Yeah. When did beating women become an Olympic event, man? Men beating women.
You know when.
I know when.
All
right, so we have to be clear on this, is that these are not trans people. The two that are beating on women, I forget their name. Imam Khalif or some shit like that. And what's the Asian one's name? You know, Steven? I could probably no. It's something very Asian sounding, and I don't want to guess and then be like, oh, Monkey said something racist. He said Ishmael in Chinese. It's in this somewhere. Anyway, this is the woman, Lin Ying, thank you. This is Khalif. This is the one that most people have been talking about because the other one is, I believe, bantamweight and really tiny, and nobody really cares. But this is the young woman who's beating up women, is in gold contention, Jack. She's guaranteed
Yes.
medal.
Yes, both of them are.
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah, they're fighting for the gold right now.
Shocking that these women are going for gold. In both cases, from what we can tell and what we've been told, they're being very cagey with the medical stuff here for privacy reasons, of course.
Uh-huh.
But they're most likely what we used to call hermaphrodites, and I still call hermaphrodite because there's nothing wrong with that term. They were probably born with questionable genitalia, and their parents literally assigned them a sex. It's the only time assigned sex has an actual meaning.
Yeah, when they have to cut one of them off to make the other one.
Yeah, we'll raise them as a girl. And that's what they say. Or we'll raise them as a boy, which almost never happens in that community. They both have XY chromosome. They are men. They're boys. They're men, and they're beating up women and getting cheered for it. And people are like, how dare you call that out? You're a bigot. Since when is saying that men beating up women is a bad thing bigoted? How the fuck did we get here? It was only 6 years ago that we had the year of the woman. And now it's the year of the men beating women? How the hell did we go that fast?
Well, no, we've just expanded the definition of woman to everything except man.
Now, these boxers have been allowed to box before. In 2023, the IBA, the International Boxing Association, went, no, you guys are guys. You can't fight women anymore. And so the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, came out and went, they're bigots over there at the IBA. They want these men to stop beating women. Can you believe how phobic they are? I'm kind of with them on that. If there's some kind of phobia that says men beating women is wrong, I'm okay with being that kind of phobe.
Yeah, look, I don't like women getting smacked around by dudes.
I'm a man beating women phobe, and I'm okay with that.
You monster.
This is not something that should be acceptable. But they've always identified as a woman. In fact, I think this story, they talk about how Khalif here cried and said, I'm a woman and I will always be a woman, except biologically. I mean, you can identify as whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you, but you can't change the reality. And this isn't just, because this is something that comes up. Is like, oh, they have different weight classes and stuff. So at least she's in the same way. And she's been beaten before. A couple of things to know. One, even good boxers lose to better boxers. But two, the male body is designed differently than the female body. We have denser bones. And if you don't understand what that means, I want you to do something. I want you to get a wiffle ball bat and a baseball bat. I want you to let somebody hit you as hard as they can with that wiffle ball bat, and then do it with the baseball bat. That's the difference in density. You getting it? There's more damage that can be done with a denser object. That's monkey. Simple fucking science.
These people trust the science unless it contradicts what they want to be the science.
How old was he at the time of the losses? I don't know. But we've seen this in the transgender thing before. Like, hey, they've lost to women. Yes, because sometimes men lose to women. It's when we talk about how men will beat women, there is a line where eventually, like, let's take the Williams sisters, the tennis girls, right? Serena and Venus. they got beat by a fat dude who was drinking, but he was still a ranked tennis player. He was like in the 200s. I am a fat dude who could not beat the Williamson. Just because I'm a man doesn't mean I'm going to beat him.
Yeah.
So there will be women who are better than even a lot of men. But they're still better than most of the women. So, yeah. They're told to throw the matches to avoid what we're seeing now. I mean, you could have that too. I haven't seen the fight, so I don't know. I do know that Khalif here was in a fight the other day that lasted 46 seconds because the girl who had to fight him was like, fuck no, that hurts. This is a professional boxer. Well, she's an amateur boxer. Somebody who's done boxing for a long time. Who's like, no. Yeah, that is not right.
Said she'd never been hit that hard in her life.
We saw this with Phelan Fox, where the people who had to fight that guy, without being told it was a guy, by the way, were like, I have never been hit that hard ever. I do this professionally in this case because that's those were professional fighters. I've never been hit that hard. I saw somebody compare it to Michael Phelps. Like, he's got double jointed ankles, which about 30% of the population does. He's got a really big wingspan. He's a freak. They even call him the freak. Yeah, but they don't call him not a man.
Yeah.
I have eyes that is clearly a dude. I've seen several people like, oh, you can't judge it because there's masculine women, which is true. There are masculine women. You know what those masculine women don't do? Fail a blood test saying whether or not they're women. These people took a chromosomal test, Jack, which confirmed that they have XY. And is it this article? There was one article that I was reading that says most women have XX and most men have XY. Like, you mean all? I mean,
that's a funny way of saying that.
I mean, technically it is most if it's everyone.
They're not counting like the Greys or some other space brother.
There are situations where you will say that it is a woman when they have like XXXY, when they have more chromosomes than they're supposed to. But they still have the XX and things like, uteruses or uteri. What's the plural of uterus?
Oh, uteruses?
Uterani? Uterone. Uteri. I don't know. Anyway. What is their tampon budget? Stop it. Anyway, I wanted to watch Megyn Kelly's take on this because this made me laugh. Share that screen instead. Thank you so much, Dark Conservatarian, for that feminist $12. Hey, Monk, thanks to you explaining the inside joke a few shows ago, I now know how to give a feminist donation to my favorite anti-feminist. Also, I sent you a cool video via DM. I will check that out. Wait, didn't I retweet that? Hang on, I gotta look in my things here. Oh yeah, I retweeted that, dude. I sent that out. Anyway, so Megyn here is about to read from the actual report from the IBA, the International Boxing Association, and the way she ends it just made me laugh. So we're gonna watch Megyn because she's much cuter than we are. Yes, I'm using Megyn Kelly to make money. Give me money.
Money now. No.
They were asked to take these further blood tests. They did. They demonstrated chromosomes. This is from the IBA, International Boxing Association presser, that we refer to as ineligible results. That was further ratified and they were removed. He said, we've got a document that was sent to both boxers, refers to the blood test. We're not able to give the actual blood test.
Thank you, Frosted. Plural of uterus is weederus. Thank you, sir.
It identifies as a theorist, though.
Indeed. Excuse me. What she's reading is from a press conference that you can watch. I saw clips of it going around on Twitter where the IBA is like, no, these are dudes. We did the test and they say they're dudes. We can't share the test. This is the part that's really frustrating because it's a medical thing, Jack. But I do feel like at certain points, I get medical privacy, right? But if you're in a pugilistic sport where you're going to be beating on women and you're claiming to be a woman, I feel like that is something that you should be able to share and should want to share. Be like, no, yeah, look, I am a woman. See, it says so right here. Do you think they'd be hiding these reports if it showed they were chicks?
No, not at all.
Do you think they'd be like, oh, I can't prove to you. It says I'm a woman, but I can't prove that because of medical It's kind of like Boogie and his bullshit with the cancer. If he actually had the diagnosis, he would have shown it. But since he didn't, he's like, I am not sharing my private medical information with you.
That's just for me.
It's the one thing I'm going to hold on to.
Because that would disprove my lies. I mean.
Yeah. The Olympics used to be in the nude for a reason. Yeah. Because the Greeks really like naked people.
See? But both boxers.
Where that paused, it kind of sounded like she said pussy. She was not saying pussy right there. Just want to make sure Megan doesn't get besmirched here.
Signed our letter to show receipt. They had seen the XY. Both had the opportunity to appeal. The Taiwanese fighter chose not to appeal. But Imam Khalif did appeal.
Now, this part's important because Imam Khalif has the people defending them, defending that guy have said the IBA didn't give them any due process. Yes, they did. They absolutely. Due process does not mean I got my way, which some people seem to think it does. They made the decision and then they had the chance to appeal the decision, which, as she just pointed out, this one did. The Asian boxer did not. The Taiwanese boxer, they're like, nah, I'm a dude. I'm not going to, I mean, that's fine. I'll just go beat women in the Olympics instead of at the World Championships. And so the other one does appeal, when they don't have due process, which just means going through the legal process properly. But.
And he said, we had further discussions with Iman and we paid for most of that appeal, but Iman dropped it.
Yep. They didn't lose the appeal. They didn't get railroaded. They dropped their own appeal that they weren't even paying for. The IBA was paying for. Now, you tell me, you're actually a woman. You're about to win the competition. And they're like, sorry, you can't even compete because you're a dude. We'll pay for everything to prove it. And you're like, you know what? I'm just going to walk away from this one. This to me is the greatest evidence that even these two boxers know they're dudes.
Yeah.
They're not confused. They understand the medicine behind it and they know they're men. They might be deformed men, Jack, but they're still men.
And therefore, it was never actually adjudicated. Now I ask you, if you were an actual female, why would you drop your appeal?
Exactly.
You were deprived of boxing in the gold medal round. You had made it through all the other rounds. You're about to fight for gold, and they DQ you for being male, and you drop the appeal. Why?
Because they have balls. That's all. I am a woman, but you're standing up to piss. Hey, I learned women can stand up to pee from watching Bachelor Party. That's an old reference.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
Most crowd's not going to get that one.
I guess you could go with no, because there's no one standing to pee in Always Sunny. I know there's another movie where that happens, and I can't think of what it is.
Just one of the guys.
Watch Bachelor Party and see where Tom Hanks's movie career started.
No, that'd be Mazes and Monsters.
Why isn't that in all the reporting? Wired. You've been absolutely disgusting. You're a tech magazine. For the love of God, stick to writing about computers because you don't know shit about fairness in sport.
That's the part I wanted to watch.
She's not wrong.
I love when Megan gets mad, dude. That shit makes me laugh. I didn't see the Wired story, but I can imagine it because Wired has been doing shit like this for about a decade now.
Yeah, they really went downhill. It's really sad.
It makes me question even their tech stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Wired used to be a place you could at least count on that part of it, but and in all honesty, I haven't read Wired in a long time because of shit like this.
Yeah. Oh, same with like Scientific American. They don't know the difference between men and women. Why are you going to trust them on anything about astrophysics that they write?
No shit. Biology is questionable. Here, listen to our take on theoretical physics. You just can't trust them. And this is the problem with what happened with science over the last, it's been going on for 2 or 3 decades now, where it's been so politicized and not in a good way. We're not having good arguments about science, Jack. We're having arguments about, can men be women?
Yeah.
How is that even a scientific question?
Well, they've changed the definition of what everything is. So when you start playing with the linguistics, you have to redefine the words.
I hear you, but I don't think you get to call it science at that point.
No, it becomes a Tower of Babel where nobody's able to communicate anymore because they're all using different definitions of words.
It's untenable. We can't keep going this way. We're literally stopping progress by having arguments we don't need to be having so that some guys who feel a little feminine can pretend they're girls. That's asinine. How many scientists right now are out there working to prove men can be women?
I bet the number is greater than the historians that were looking for the true history of the Aryan people for Hitler.
Yeah. I can't speak on that. I have a lot of blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids in my family, man.
Well, they're not Norse.
Get us in
I hate
trouble.
to break it to you.
I don't know what we are, but we have a lot of blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids. I don't know how with Indian and Irish ancestry. I don't know what kind of mutt my wife is, but apparently there's a lot of blonde and blue in there. My kids should be popping out ginger as fuck. They should have red skin and red hair. I'm just saying.
Green eyes.
With green eyes, yes. I can make those jokes because I have the heritage. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this because this shit is kind of funny. You know who Jennifer Jacobs is?
Name sounds familiar.
She is a reporter. She covers the White House. And she was fired today or yesterday.
Oh, I did see this, yes.
We had an exchange with the Russians of different prisoners, including one who was a member of the press. And I haven't looked into all the people, Jack. If I know the way that the Biden administration trades, we probably gave them a couple dozen terrorists, somebody who sells bombs for a living, that kind of thing, to get a reporter back.
I did look into this a little bit. Several of them were computer hackers.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And we didn't have them all. Apparently, this was a group effort by us, Germany, and a couple other people because the Germans got like 3 or 4 people back. We only got, I think, 5 of them because a couple of them were people we were like given sanctuary to that weren't, but 3 of them were citizens.
For the record, fuck the Russians. I just want to get that out there before anybody like, you're on Putin. I don't give a fuck about the Russians. Fuck them. If we can get our people back, I'm for it. I'm just not for giving an international arms dealer who has sold to terrorists in exchange for a basketball player who wanted to get high.
Yeah.
That is not a good trade. It's like the Biden administration read The Art of the Deal and went, we're not doing any of that shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bloomberg fires Jennifer Jacobs because there was an embargo on this story. Nobody was supposed to talk about this story until the Americans were on friendly territory in Turkey.
Yeah.
And she put out some statement early, and they fired her for breaking editorial standards. That's Jennifer right there. For the record, I mock Jennifer on a regular basis because she is a Bloomberg reporter, and it's my duty as somebody who believes in truth to mock people like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of hers. I'm not standing up for her as a person or even as a journalist, but it is funny to me that somebody like her, who I'm 99% sure even went with the Russian collusion story.
Oh, probably.
That she gets fired for a true story. It was a real story. And I get, Faithless, I get it, risking the exchange. I understand that because they hadn't touched down yet. And if the news is bad or whatever, it could cause a problem. But what she reported wasn't fake. But these stories that she has reported where she's gotten things wrong or blatantly pushed a lie never got her fired. Ever.
Well, I'm pretty sure they fired her for this because it risked their access.
Yes. That's the real reason right there. You nailed it. You don't lose access pushing the lies of the administration. You lose access telling the truth.
Yeah, and making a risk on a deal. This could have fucked up the exchange. So I get why anybody would be fired for this, but all these liars in the media, it is kind of shocking somebody actually got fired for something.
I just think it's weird that she got fired for this, but not for ever getting stories wrong.
Oh, they don't care about that. They just issue a little apology. They already got all the clicks on the internet for their advertisers. They don't give a shit. There's no consequences for lying. Everybody at editorial encourages like half-truths or mistakes.
And again, their reasoning for it is violation of editorial standards. And how do you fire her for that when you've never fired her for getting stories wrong? That would be an editorial standard.
Oh, look, hypocrisy knows no bounds on the left, and you know that.
They fired her because she put out early. I may not have been listening. Basically, yes.
No, you were listening.
She put out too soon, and you can't do that. I get all of the arguments about maybe screwing up the exchange, but I mean, the prisoners were already in the air. The story's out. There was nothing in the story that's negative for the Russians there. So, I mean, I even get, hey, we're going to put you on leave. And again, remember, this is against the backdrop of all of the shit that they let go. This isn't like she's never done anything wrong before, blatantly pushed false bullshit. No. She's a normal journalist in America. She's made a name for herself to where even people like me know her by name. So she's not out there just being the truth teller. This is a woman who goes along with everything the press says. But in this one case, like you almost got us in trouble. That's the real thing.
Yeah. Also, I'd be willing to bet that she's super annoying to work with because all these super feminist lefty types, they're a handful and they're a lawsuit waiting to happen. So you want to get rid of them as quick as possible.
Well, her comment on this was kind of strange. Let me bring this up on the screen. There we go. She says, as a journalist, the idea that I would jeopardize the safety of a fellow reporter is deeply upsetting on a level that's difficult to describe. I am happy Evan, name monkey can't pronounce, and the others are home. In reporting this, Evan Ishmael, everybody's an Ishmael today. In reporting the story about Evan's release, I worked hand in hand with my editors to adhere to the editorial standards and guidelines. At no time did I do anything that was knowingly inconsistent with the administration's embargo or that would put anyone involved at risk. Reporters don't have the final say over when a story is published or with what headline. The chain of events here could happen to any reporter tasked with reporting news. This is why checks and balances exist within the editorial process. I deeply respect the Wall Street Journal and all of the work that they did to bring one of their own home. I am proud to be part of the journalism profession and have great admiration for my fellow reporters that do this important work. So she gets there for a moment where she's like, it wasn't me. The editors did this. And then she's like, I respect the Wall Street Journal.
Which she wants the reference.
She doesn't even work for them. She works for Bloomberg. The reporter, Evan Ishmael there, he came from the Wall Street Journal.
Doesn't Bloomberg own the Wall Street Journal, or is that Bezos?
Bloomberg, no, the Wall Street Journal is owned by the people who own Fox. They're part of the Post family.
Oh.
News Corp. Yeah. And Bloomberg's owned by Bloomberg.
Well, I knew that, yeah.
Worked for Bloomberg. Fair enough, Dangerous. You're right. Sucking up for a new job. Maybe. But am I wrong that she skirts the line of this wasn't my doing, but then kind of just drops it?
Yeah, I think she just wanted to plant the seed that maybe this wasn't her actual fault. Somebody please give me a job.
Yeah, I would have named the editor who allowed it to go. Because if what she says here is right, she followed their guidelines. She worked with the editors, and she is 100% right, and she doesn't get to decide when that story's published. I feel like she should have been the one who got to keep her job, and the editor should have got fired.
Well, did she tweet this out and not publish the story?
Is that what happened?
Because I think she tweeted about it instead of actually before the stories went live. She tweeted about it before the embargo. That's how I understood it.
According to this piece here, this is the statement from the guy who works at Bloomberg. Jennifer Jacobs, one of the two Bloomberg reporters who bylined the embargo-breaking Ishmael piece, has been fired. That looks like an actual story if he's mentioning the piece.
Yeah, but no, she wrote the story, but the story was being held back, and she tweeted about it before it went live. That's how I understood it happened. I don't know.
Bloomberg published the story at 7:41 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday. Minutes later, one of its editors posted on X. So she just tweeted the story that had already been released.
Okay. Maybe they have that thing where you, a lot of places do, where you can publish your articles yourself. You upload it, and then you can make it go live. And she didn't bother. Like, editors don't really do much anymore. They just let people do whatever. Maybe that's what happened.
About an hour later, the Bloomberg story was updated with the comment, an earlier version of the story was corrected to reflect that the Americans had not been released yet. So, yeah, she was just tweeting out a story that they had already published. I mean, I get where you're going with that. Whoops, I don't know what the fuck I pushed that for. But by all looks of this, she isn't the one who was in the wrong here.
I don't know. Guessing there's probably more to this that she had done previously to kind of skirt the rules on other occasions, or she's just difficult to work with. And they were looking for a reason to fire her.
I think they were looking for a scapegoat, and she tweeted it out, so she gets to be the one. Pay no attention to the fact that they published the story before she tweeted it. She's the bad guy here. And again, I'm not a fan of Jennifer Jacobs. She's a reporter. She lies for a living. But for them to suddenly claim they have editorial standards because of someone actually telling the truth, fuck off. All right? Just fuck all the way off. fuck off. And when there's nowhere left to fuck off some more. That's how much you need to fuck off with that stupid shit. All right. Why is there an ad that keeps popping up with this? That's what I want. I just wanted to, because I just want to put this on the screen because we talked about it earlier. Here it is, guys. UN admits 9 UNRWA staffers may have been involved in the October 7th attack on Israel. And by may have, yeah, they were. I mean, they have pictures of them. And the UNRWA is a special thing the UN did for Gaza. They're a humanitarian group, Jack.
Yeah. It turned out they had a bunch of Hamas tunnels underneath their building.
No, that's another one of the Jewish lies. And, except for they found those tunnels.
And there's video of them. And yeah. Don't believe your lying eyes, everybody.
Yeah, this is this picture that's on the screen right now. This is from October 7th. This is 2 Palestinians stealing a Jew. And one of them has been identified as one of the UNRWA employees.
I think that's still called kidnapping, Monkey.
Nope, they stole a Jew. I can see it. For the record, you cannot just steal Jews, okay? Please stop.
Yeah, please don't do that.
It's Mr. E's birthday, Mr. E.
What?
This one's for you, and a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
dear Mr. E.
Happy birthday to you. It's wrong to steal a Jew. Happy birthday. I hope you have a great one. I really, really do. Yeah, so this is the reason I wanted to bring this story up and actually highlight it again is because there's so much misinformation. Look, we know both sides are engaged in propaganda. It's what happens. But
yeah,
they pretend that this shit isn't. Like, no, they're just attacking the UN because they're trying to help the Gazans. Well, yeah, they're helping the Gazans, but not in a good way.
Yeah, in the aiding and abetting sort of way.
They're stealing Jews with them. You can't do that. And then claim that you're a humanitarian organization. Oh, it's fucking insane, man.
Make it sound like a heist movie. Dun, 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 dun. Stealing a Jew. It's like Mission Impossible up in here.
It's Ocean's 6 million. God damn you, Monkey.
That would be Oy Vey. Ocean's Oy Vey.
Ishmael's 11. Anyhow. Oh, God. Did you see that Donald Trump went on with Aiden Ross today?
I did. I didn't get to watch it because I didn't care. And I had other shit to do with, trying to pay my bills and whatnot. I am behind on everything. And what little I heard about it, I was like, I'm glad I didn't watch that shit show.
I don't really care about Trump being on social media kind of things like this, but why Aiden Ross? This guy is a booger eating retard, and I'm not calling him a booger eater as an insult. That is a accurate description of this man. He eats his boogers on stream.
Ew.
Yeah. He constantly is picking his nose. The dude's a booger eater. But I want to play this because it he's a tape bro, Jack. I don't know if you know that. He has also been involved in pushing crypto scams.
No. I'm shocked.
But here he is making Hassan look intelligent. This is what the right is putting out there as their lead person. He's a very popular over on Twitch, Jack. This is him finding out what fascism means.
What does a fascist mean? It means you are a far right authorization on ultra-analytic, oh my God, ultra-analytist analyst, political ideology movement characterized by dictator leadership, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition.
Yep.
Those were words that weren't that difficult overall.
Yep. Yeah. But don't worry. He's hip with the kids, Jack, so it's good. Several people told me, hey, this will help him reach the children's.
Children can't vote.
The children that are watching Aiden Ross are literal children. The guy's a fucking retard. And just reaching people. I said this when Trump went to the National Association of Black Journalists, he reached more people whose minds might be changed than people who are watching Aiden Ross.
Yeah.
You're not even preaching to the choir at that point. You're literally preaching to the retard at that point.
Yeah, well, the demographic is idiots who probably don't vote or are not eligible to vote.
And all this does is give the legacy and social media lefties, but I repeat myself, fire to go and look at who Trump is hanging out with. And there's plenty on this is a guy who they used to torture by sending him pictures of his sister in, how do I put this?
Getting plowed.
With splooge on her back.
Oh.
Except it turned out, or at least it's claimed, it wasn't actually his sister. There's so much to go look at Aiden Ross and just be like, this is who you hung out with. I can only imagine Laura Loomer was involved in this decision. And please, somebody who's near Trump, please, for the love of all that is holy, get that crazy fucking bitch away from him.
Yeah, no shit.
I get it. She's been pro-Trump forever, and but she's an idiot.
Frosted, don't call it a comeback. It's been there for years.
Don't call it a comeback.
Thank you. Speaking of which, thank you, Frosted. I stole a Jew once. In my defense, it was an accident. It looked like a normal lampshade. That's a fucked up World War II joke right there. Wow.
That's a really fucked up World War II joke. All right. Jack, we're going to talk about Civil War, but for once it won't be because of Tim Pool.
What?
I know, right? Instead, it's a member of fucking Congress.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about the UK.
No. We can get to the UK. I don't know if I have much even pulled up about that one. This is Jamie Ratkin. I almost called him Ratskin, which is far more accurate. Jamie Ratkin, who is a high-ranking member of Congress in the House, and he was one of the impeachment managers for, was it for both of the impeachments?
I think so.
He's a horrible piece of shit. I don't like the man. He's a douchebag. And he had this to say about Donald Trump if he gets elected.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand.
Section 3 of the 14th Amendment says that you can't hold office if, as an office holder who took an oath, you have engaged in insurrection against the country. Which, by the way, everybody that rule was made for got pardoned by the president.
Back in 1865.
Yeah. So tell me about how much it matters, you dickwad. But anyway.
As if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so.
Yeah, it couldn't be clearer what it's stating because it was talking about the Civil fucking War. People who literally took up arms against the Union, you dumbass. Sorry.
You know, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then.
Did you hear what he just said?
He's going to overthrow the will of the people in a election.
Congress is going to, if given the chance, if Democrats take over Congress, they're not going to allow Trump to be president on January 6th.
Yeah, they don't need to take over Congress. They could do it they'd be doing it with the sitting Congress.
Well, the House is still technically controlled by the Republicans, so it would still get through. They have to have a takeover. Oh, that's right, because the new Congress doesn't sit till what, the 10th?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to a bloodless coup is what he's talking about here.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be that would be an insurrection.
But oh, hang on, Faithless, don't get ahead of him.
And we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because
this is a man talking about overthrowing the duly elected president should Trump win, with the notion of a civil war condition.
Yep. They would be planning on attacking citizens.
Dangerous Spaces. Dangerous, thank you. Why would Trump talk to a booger-eating retard? Getting into the right mindset for talking to Kamala Harris? Did Raskin push for preventing a peaceful transfer of power? So that's okay again, Jamie. Yeah, he's not just pushing it, he's saying it's going to be done. Which, by the way, just so Raskin understands how this would work, even if they tried that, all that would do is make J.D. Vance the president.
Yeah, well, his argument is that because the election would be considered illegitimate, Vance wouldn't be able to get in either.
Yeah, that would not just cause civil war conditions. We're talking about a literal constitutional crisis if they tried that.
Yeah, but since they're delegitimizing the Supreme Court, they would say that they're in on the conspiracy and try to ignore them too. This is a very dangerous thing to be putting out there for him to do this.
Yes.
It's going to give a lot of bad people really dumb ideas.
This is insane. Look, the court has already ruled on this. There is no... you can't point to this and say, hey, he insurrected. There's no criminal case where that's been decided.
Yeah, there's no evidence that Trump planned any of this stuff anyway. So it's so stupid, but they have that idea in their head. They've decided it was an insurrection. They decided that Trump is somehow the person behind it, and they are going to run with it no matter what, because it's not about free and fair elections or democracy for them. It's about winning.
Yeah.
This is very, very dangerous talk that he is doing, and it would cause a very, very bad situation, I think. People are fed up with this bullshit, and I think it would cause a lot of problems. But Raskin doesn't give a shit because the elites always think that they are untouchable.
Well, there's a good reason for them thinking that. And here's an example of it. And while this one is load up. There we go. Is not as important. It is a wonderful example of why they think the way they do. Emhoff acknowledges affair during first marriage after a tabloid report. Vice President Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, acknowledged Saturday in a statement to CNN that he had an affair during his first marriage after the alleged details of the relationship were published by a British tabloid. So it comes out that during his first marriage, he was banging his nanny and his children's teacher.
Yeah, didn't he get the nanny pregnant?
Well, that depends on who you ask. According to the story that led to all this, yes. But that Megyn Kelly that we were just watching, she has a guy on at the beginning of it who agrees with her about a whole bunch of stuff, except whether the chick was pregnant, because he's not convinced she was, because there hasn't been like proof of that, which I guess is fair enough. But the reality is, it's kind of like Dr. Disrespect saying, yeah, I talked to somebody, but never acknowledging worst parts of it.
Yeah.
Well, you're acknowledging it, which tells us it's probably all true. She supposedly had an abortion, but we'll never know because we don't have the DNA, and she's not talking. Have you seen her?
No.
Bruh, British women are ugly as fuck. No offense, British ladies. Some of y'all are pretty. But the ones that wait, I said British women. She just looked British to me. That's so mean. She might be American. Oh, damn. I just insulted British people with an ugly American. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, they're probably from British stock. I mean,
I saw an ugly woman that looked British, and I just assumed. That's my bad.
what? Did you see her teeth or something?
No, if you saw her, you'd be like, oh, is she British? I'm just saying.
Well, just means she's probably fat. So.
Why do I go down these roads? There's no reason for that. That's just alienating our ugly British audience.
We don't have ugly British people in the chat. We only have beautiful people because they watch this show. It gives you beauty points by watching.
I love you, British people.
That's just science. I'm trying to bail you out here, dude. Just run with me.
Jordan says Brits are busy rioting. You're good. Yeah, I know. We'll get there in a minute. Thank God for small favors. I was not asleep when that started. But this is what really pissed me off about this story is this tweet from our good old friend Chris Saliza. Now, for those of you who used to watch Lords of the Night, we talk about Chris Saliza a lot. But this news all comes out on August 3rd, and Chris Saliza tweets out, how did this not come out before? You're in the media, motherfucker. You were on CNN.
Yeah, aren't you a journalist?
Why don't you fucking answer the question how it didn't come out before?
Because nobody wanted to look into it.
Yeah, this is why you said why do they think they can get away with it? Because they can.
Yep.
She's been vice president for almost 4 fucking years. She was a presidential candidate, and this didn't come out.
Yep. Before that, wasn't she a senator?
She was a senator from California.
And attorney general before that. So yeah, she's been married to him for what, 11 years or so?
I think since 2010.
Okay, so even
don't
longer.
Quote me on that. Yeah.
So at least a decade. And nobody's bothered to dig into it. That tells you exactly how protected our political class is from the media.
How did this not
correct politics?
How did this not come out before? Because you guys don't. The guy at the top right there. Because you and your colleagues don't really vet Democrats. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why. And that's not even entirely true because they do vet them. They just don't talk about it. They know these stories.
Well, they vet them so that they could cover up stuff.
Look what happened with COVID in New York.
Yeah.
August of 2020 is when the stories come out about what Cuomo's doing, killing people. And it doesn't become a major story until 8 months later? The following summer? And then only because he's running for a 4th term and they decided he doesn't get one of those.
Yeah, and even that was hidden behind the abuse allegations against women.
Yeah, the bullshit sexual harassment charges. That is still one of my favorite stories in all of media, is that one chick telling how he sexually harassed her. He asked her to come view this room, and I forget what the room is in the mansion. And they went in there and they looked at all the cool stuff, and then they left. That's the end of the story. He didn't hit on her. He didn't say anything inappropriate. He didn't touch her. He invited her to look at a really nice room that's all set up. She looked at it, and then they left. And I felt like he might sexually harass me.
Well, look, you can't invite a woman without her consent.
That is how far they will go to protect Democrats, is they'll tell that story to get him out instead of admitting that he got a bunch of old people killed.
Well, people like their elderly family members, so they figured it would be easier just to make a random accusation that no matter how nonsensical, they'd be like, this is good enough.
All right, it's been brought up a few times. I suppose we should talk about it. There's some rioting going on across the pond, Jack.
Yeah, and for once, it's the English.
Yep, it's not the French this time. It's the English. They're mad because some immigrants killed 3 little girls by stabbing them. They tried to stab more little girls and didn't get enough of them for Muslims to be happy, apparently.
Yeah, it was 3 dead, I think 8 injured, and the kid was actually the son of immigrants, but the story had already come out the way it was going to come out.
Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I get it. The Brits are so sick of the Muslim crime and the 2-tier. It's really about 2-tier policing. Almost nobody gets arrested for the crimes that Muslims do over there, or the Asian men, as they call them. The rape gangs, they get little slaps on the wrist here and there, but there's almost no enforcement of that. The BBC actually called some of the sex trafficking victims child prostitutes. So people are a little sick of that, and this just was the tipping point.
Dangerous Spaces, thank you. What pissed me off about that was when Chris Cuomo had his brother on his show for months, all of a sudden says, it's inappropriate for me to talk about my brother. What the fuck, motherfucker? I know. I remember.
Yeah.
Yep, that was as the story was breaking about Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York. He had been going with Chris during the early parts of COVID. They had their little show they did together. And then suddenly when all these allegations come out against his brother, suddenly like it would be inappropriate for me to talk about that. It was inappropriate for you to be having him on anyway.
That's because CNN found out that he was writing a bunch of the press releases for his brother.
Mm-hmm.
So he could kind of diminish the accusations.
He was leading the charge against the women. And again, I'm on Cuomo's side about the women because the things that they claimed were sexual harassment, even by Me Too standards, those were so thin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were nonsense, but they were covering up all the dead elderly people. You can't talk about the Great Meemaw massacre because that gets Cuomo in a little bit of the oopsies with the families.
Next, we're going to look at Fraser Knight, who is apparently a British Journalism Award winner from 2020. And I wanted to highlight this one because it's so telling of what's going on over there right now. What is happening on the streets of Britain is causing real tension among communities. As a reporter, I've just been chased out of an area of East Birmingham by a group of Asian men who had come out to protect their community against a planned far-right demonstration. So reportedly, there was going to be a far-right, which is weird to me that everything is far-right over there, but a far-right demonstration. And instead, what happened is a whole bunch of Asian men, got together and vandalized motorists as they were driving.
Yes. There had been a rumor being spread by various Antifa groups online that the Brits were attacking Muslim women with acid.
Yeah.
Which has never happened. It's usually the other way around.
Yep.
But the Muslims believed it, and that helped spark a lot of this.
No, the Asians. The
Asian Muslims.
No, just Asians. There is no religious affiliation here.
I got a big old X button that's wearing out real fast here, dude.
This is a reporter who described them as Asian men. That's how fucked up. Holy shit, it's raining hard outside. I was wondering what that background noise was I was hearing. It's rain.
Did you see the clip of the reporter?
Which one?
The female reporter that
yes. Do you have that clip? I don't have it.
I'll grab it real quick.
Cool. Yeah.
There.
That is scary as fuck.
Yeah. And notice how quick you'll see how quick CNN cuts away, or Sky, or whoever.
Sky. It's Sky. Yeah.
Sky. Real quick. Thank you, Evolved Potato. There's so many videos with Muslim men running past cops holding machetes and the cops ignoring it. Instead, they break into homes of elderly people that said Muslim terrorists are bad. Yes. And that is a very, very big problem, is the 2-tier treatment of criminality. And that's what most of these people are complaining about. And instead you get the PM, Keir Starmer, saying, fuck you people, you need to stop being so Islamophobic, and they're going to protect the mosques. You think that's helping the situation? Are you even listening to the concerns of your citizens? No. So the tone deafness is not helping, because the police look like traitors, which they kind of are, and they're aiding and abetting. There's a video of a cop telling the Muslims to hide their weapons at the mosque so they don't have to get arrested.
Not just to hide them, that he will help hide them.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing you said it there a second ago, the two-tiered thing, because there's two-tiered policing going on, where the far right are out there getting, actually policed. Meanwhile, the Muslims who are running around with machetes and killing little girls, hey, don't you dare question them. They're just Asian men.
Yeah. I think it's funny that they came up with two-tier Keir as the hashtag they're posting under.
Well, there's also two tiers when it comes to the reporting on all this. And we just saw it. No mention of Muslims. No, we cannot. They're Asians. We saw this same stupid shit with the rape gang that went on there for a decade.
Yep.
Hey, don't pay attention to them all being Muslim. And it's okay within their biblical teachings to do that, or their Quranian teachings. No. They're all just Asian. They're just Asian. Anyway, so we do have that video that Jack was talking about. This is a Sky News reporter. What's her name? I don't know if it even has her name here, but she's reporting on these are Asians back here. These are Asians protesting, Jack.
Yes, very, very Asiatic looking people. Look at all those slant eyes.
Right?
Speaking to the police as well, because
free Palestine! Free Palestine! Fuck India, mate!
But I think, apologies for the language you're hearing, but a sense of the anger, I think you can hear there.
Yeah, Casey, I think Becky, I apologize.
Okay, your reporter's getting surrounded by violent shitbags, and you move the camera away from them?
Yeah, it goes against British broadcasting rules to have on live rapes.
I guess, yeah. That might be used in a court trial against the Asian men.
Yeah, we can't have that. These are sainted Asians. They are more valuable because they are newcomers. They are going to help diversify and enrich the culture. So you can't go against them. How dare you, you monstrous bigots? How dare you?
Need to leave you there, and Becky, we'll have security there. And
Becky, we need to leave you there. We'll get security.
No, they're not going to get security. They're sacrificing that bitch. She's never been seen again, I bet.
We will leave that, and I apologize once again for the language there.
That's what you're worried about, is the language?
Yep.
Becky about to get raped and murdered. And you're like, hey, sorry, he said fuck. What the fuck is wrong with British people?
They are ruled over by a corrupt media that hates Britain. They hate the legacy of colonialism. That same with, that's not just the media. Obviously, it's their politicians as well. They're self-loathing, and they hate themselves so much that they're willing to put up with these imported psychopaths who are now militarizing, and they get free reign. So they want to destroy their own country, and they're doing a very good job of it. And the British citizens standing up to this, it's going to lead to a lot of crackdowns, just going to make all of this worse until a bunch of people get shot.
It's just amazing to me that this is being accepted.
Yeah.
That the British government is siding with the terrorists. And, you brought up, I have that clip of the dude. Go ahead, Jack.
No, it's disgusting, because this is how the revolution started over here. They started punishing people for no real reason, abusing their power and authority, and eventually some innocent people got killed, and it led to massive riots. The Boston riot, where was it Crispus Allen got shot, and I don't remember his name offhand. I'm
Crispus
a little rusty.
Attucks?
Crispus Attucks, yeah, got shot and led to even more riots. And next thing you know, they're in full-on revolt. So the Brits have not learned.
I'm not going to lie to you. Several times looking at different things going on with all of this, I thought y'all desperately need a bald eagle over there and a weapon.
Oh, shit. Yeah, this is going from pointless riots, which I do not think work ever. You're just creating the situation for the government to come down heavy-handed. Now it's getting targeted. They burned down a police station. They've gone after a couple of the migrant hotels. They're getting a lot more focused and a lot more planning. And if they keep that up, you're looking at like an IRA 2.0.
Yeah.
And it's going to get, these guys are not stupid. They may be working class people, but the ruling party over there, Labor, has no respect for working people. So they think all these people are idiots. They're going to take this offline and they're going to start doing underground shit. There's enough IRA members still floating around. There's a lot of riots in Belfast, and they're not really talking about that. You can watch the videos on X, the burning police cars, etc. It's getting pretty messy, and those guys do not fuck around. There's enough of those old IRA guys that can show the new generation how to play it old school, and it could get really, really messy.
Yeah, they've actually found a way to solve the Protestant Catholic thing going on in Ireland for centuries.
Yeah, because the one thing the Protestants and Catholics have in common is they're both Christian sects who apparently hate Islam.
Yeah. Anyway, so the British just had their elections not long ago, right? Where they picked Labour to yay, let's be stupid. But homie here, I don't know his name. I don't
Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer. Yeah, Ishmael is going to talk to us.
I had a Cobra meeting this morning, which was an opportunity that I took to thank the police for their work over the last few days.
Read the room, bro.
Yeah, he can't. That's just it. They refuse to accept that they may have a point, that the working class are being targeted by these other communities that refuse to assimilate. They refuse to look at that situation even a little bit to see if there are any legitimate complaints. And that's always led to revolution in the UK, when they stop listening to the working class, or the serfs, as Keir probably views them.
Dark Conservatarian, thank you. Different topic, I know, but have you seen stuff about Kyle Rittenhouse saying he wasn't going to vote for Trump and Trumpists threw a hissy fit at him? Yeah, we can talk about that in a moment, because I do think that's an important topic, just the way that whole thing was handled. But let's watch British boy here.
oh, real quick. No, not that Cobra. G.I. Joe is not going to get involved. Dangerous. Also, thank you, Evolved Potato. By the way, that was the first thing I thought too. Thank you, Evolved Potato. Rotherham, which is where the most famous rape gangs were, because there were a lot more. About 1/3 of little girls that were raped. So many children, the police helped cover it up. These people are evil. Yes, and I blame the cops quite a bit for this, because they didn't want to look racist, so they didn't bother to do their fucking jobs. The cops are complicit in this. The Metro UK police have a lot to answer for, and that is not helping things when they start going out and defending the Muslim gang members and rapists.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're aiding and abetting them. It makes them look completely corrupt, even if they're not. I'm sure some of those cops are just honest, hardworking people, but they're going to get lumped in with everyone else. And if you think that's going to change, you're probably delusional.
Sorry. Close that. All right.
Did you see the clip comparing this statement to one of his old ones about the Muslims? Because
no,
dear God, this guy's an idiot.
Morning, baby. I was saying good morning to my wife.
Yeah, he's gone out of his way to apologize and make excuses for Muslim protests in the past, and he's just, oh, everybody involved in this is a far right extremist white supremacist. It's disgusting.
To express my support for the police officers who have been injured and the communities impacted by this mindless thuggery. There are a number of actions that came out of the meeting. The first is we will have a standing army of specialist officers, public duty officers, so that we'll have enough officers to deal with this where we need them. The second is we'll ramp up criminal justice. There have already been hundreds of arrests. Some have appeared in court this morning. I've asked for early consideration of the earliest naming and identification of those involved in the process who will feel the full force of the law. And thirdly,
That's the one that really got me, because if you remember, a lot of what Tommy Robinson got in trouble for was naming the people who were raping children.
Yeah. They're talking about arresting him yet again. He just got arrested the other day with some new charges, and the media is trying to blame him for all these riots, which he's had nothing to do with. He was literally on vacation, and he's been calling for calm and peace.
But he was arrested and thrown in jail for breaking their rules. And this guy's like, we need to change those rules so that these people who are upset about little girls getting killed, we can name them and well, publicly shame them. Let's be honest about what he wants to do here.
Oh, yeah.
Destroy their lives.
Yeah, this is life ruination. He wants to
destroy people. Yeah, just in case they don't end up found guilty, they can still be ruined.
Yeah,
that's what they're
targeted by the Muslim hordes.
Yeah, that's what their whole system is supposedly set up for, so that people who aren't guilty aren't treated as though they were.
Oh, they're guilty. That's just it.
Tall person, thank you. Hoy just woke up. We'll watch in full later. Looks like a really good show. Happy National Root Beer Float Day. Well, thank you. And happy National Float Day to you too. I'm not a big fan of floats.
I have to be in the mood for them. They're fine, but I have to be in the mood for them.
I don't like vanilla in my root beer. I love them separately. I will even eat ice cream while drinking a root beer, but not together. What's up, P-Dog? How you doing?
So what you're saying is you're a root beer and ice cream segregationist.
Yes, I am. Snubber, thank you. As Dankula pointed out, Tommy was rounded up in 2 days. The Islam ones, barely any that held for years. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing Tommy did this last time appears to have been that speech that he gave at a rally where Sargon was at, too. They arrested him right after that. So it was just a big old middle finger to him.
Yeah. He's just going to be scapegoated for this, so they have somebody to point to and blame.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, tall person. Go ahead. And some for you, Mr. Jack. Happy Farm Worker Appreciation Day. Despite what some commies think, they make our food, not supermarkets. Sadly, that is a common perspective. Thank you, tall person, and I hope you're having a good day.
Do you have spider drinks in the U.S.? If so, what's the difference to a float? I don't know what a spider drink is. A float, you take a couple of scoops of ice cream and pour root beer over it and drink it.
Yeah, usually the ice cream will float.
Yeah. I won't say that Tommy doesn't have the ability to inflame things. He clearly does, and I don't follow him, so I don't know what he has or hasn't been saying here. But you can't attribute all of this to him.
No, this is a natural response that happens whenever the local population feels like they're not being listened to by the leadership. You don't have to like it, but these kind of powder kegs do happen everywhere. People get frustrated with their leadership because they don't think they're being listened to, and they start acting up.
Yeah.
And I think there is some agent provocateur stuff going on from the Brits on this one, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're doing that to crack down on some of the so-called white supremacist far-righters.
I don't. Maybe if you guys engaged with your citizens instead of just trying to bring in an entirely new population
Yeah,
that is not assimilating at all.
No, and there's no effort to assimilate them.
Yep.
It's not like we're trying, this is a process. None of that. No, they're just, fuck you, you're being replaced. And they're letting all the conspiracy theories run rampant. They're not even trying to counter the narratives.
Well, they are, but only by saying that, hey, stop being racist.
Yeah, that's all they do is scream racism. They don't, there is no requirement to assimilate into the culture. They're just saying you're a bigot. That's it. There's you cannot have warring cultures within the, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You cannot have vastly different cultures within one geographical area without there being conflict, because they have such different standards. These are people that are largely illiterate, uneducated, from a third world country that has not only a different religion, but they have different cultural accepted norms. Like that woman's not veiled, we're allowed to rape her because she's a whore.
Yeah.
And especially with such a heavily religious culture, you cannot have that without some sort of assimilation program. You have to teach these people not to rape. How sad is it that some of these things actually do apply in these situations?
Well, you have to teach them that what they're doing is rape because they don't see it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. This is they're lighting a powder keg and they don't care.
Well, no, because they have power.
Yeah, and moral superiority.
The people that do this kind of stuff never realize the implications of what they're pushing. Because in the long run, this is really bad for those in power.
Yeah. Just
Evolved Potato, thank you so very much. A lot of the violence from the British people against the cops have started off with the police just assaulting protesters. There's one where an officer with a riot shield just starts bashing a guy in the head with it for no reason.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. I'm not shocked. I've seen a lot of this stuff with, let's call them international protests, where the police are just really violent. But it always seems to go in one direction.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to hear the rest of what Douchebag has to say, because there is something else I want to address.
Absolutely clear that the criminal law applies online as well as offline, and I'm assured that that's the approach that is being taken. Whatever the apparent motivation, this is not protest. It is pure violence, and we will not tolerate attacks on mosques or our Muslim communities. So
apparently little girls are fair game.
Yeah, we won't tolerate attacks on mosques, but go ahead and kill little girls, little British girls.
Yeah, he said Muslims and mosques. So Christians and Jews are apparently okie dokie.
And that's as much as we need to see what Elon said. Elon said, shouldn't you be concerned about attacks on all communities?
What? Bigot.
To which this dude, Rory Stewart, who is a writer, he's a Brady Johnson professor, grand strategy. I have no idea what the fuck that means. He looks like a little lesbian. And he's British, so he probably is. But he said this, seriously, since when have you claimed to understand British communities or British politics? Exactly how many days did you spend with these communities? Does it ever occur to you that this might perhaps be the wrong time to sound off about a subject you know nothing about? I want to read Elon's statement again because it seems important. Shouldn't you be concerned about attacks on all communities? He's not taking any side there. Hey, Rory, he's even including the Muslims that the guy was talking about. He's talking about the government being responsible for the safety of everyone. And you're like, how dare you suggest everyone should be protected? What the fuck is wrong with British people?
They don't want to admit that the white working class has the same rights as anyone else.
I'm just shocked that this is the answer that he came. You don't even know anything about British communities. Okay, well, which communities, Rory, do you think shouldn't be protected?
I just said the white working class.
Isn't labor supposed to be the party of the working class?
It was, but now they're the class of the elites and the migrants, the future voters.
Hugh says almost as bad as saying all lives matter. Yeah, that's basically what you have here. Elon said all lives matter. How dare you? Fuck you. Only Muslim lives matter.
Yeah, what would you know about separation of groups from your apartheid homeland?
Look, if there's any country that's currently a country that knows about the importance of keeping invaders at bay, it's England. I mean, if you look at the history of who's run that place over the years, it has had some drastic changes, Jack.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're talking like the Romans, the Vikings, the French, the Germans, probably. Yeah. Anybody that could get a boat to that island attacked it at some point.
And probably had power. And
yeah,
it's been a long haul for them. And the people who know their history are looking at this going, this is a bad idea, yo. We're too dumb for that, Jack. Here in the States, we haven't had to deal with that. And our reckoning is coming as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got way more immigrants than Britain probably even has citizens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how many gotaways do we have here?
It's in the same vein of putting up with it under the notion of being just and humanitarian and being for equality, when the reality is that's not what you're going to end up with if you allow these soft invasions to happen.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we left Afghanistan and they're like, they promise they're going to let the girls keep reading?
Yeah.
How long did that shit last? Less than a week?
Yeah.
What part of these people being backwards, third world, 16th century barbarians are you missing?
7th century, dude. These people, let's just say the real word. They're savages.
I was being polite.
Yeah, they come from a time that barely had the fucking wheel, and they think in that tribal mentality, us against them. If you're not with us, you are our enemy, because that's how you had to think in the 7th century. There's been no reformations of their religion. It is a warlord religion. There is only conquest. Hey, there is no peace.
Hey, British politicians, you do realize that their holy book says if they die while killing you, they get special rewards, right? You get that, right?
No, they refuse to understand who they're talking about. They're the sainted other, the minority. So they must always be oppressed. They must always be the victim. They can't possibly be an aggressor. That's why they're always making excuses. It's really, really disgusting. And it's led to so many terror attacks because of it.
And we're not allowed to say some things are better than others, but bullshit. Western civilization is better than Islamic bullshit that we're seeing. It just is.
Yep.
I do not understand how the very same people who back Islam, no matter what's going on, are the same ones that going, yeah, that guy should be beating up a girl in the Olympics.
I mean, that does fit with Islam. So,
I mean, yeah, but you have to actually be a guy. You can't claim to be a girl.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
How do the people who are so woke that you believe that boys can become girls mesh with the ideology of Islam? I don't understand.
Same way Queers for Palestine exists. It's because they don't know what they're talking about and they refuse to look at it from an objective standpoint. If you're against the Muslims for any reason, you're a bigot.
Look how mad everybody got at that one meme. Muslims are right about women.
Yeah.
Say that to any modern wokey and see what happens. Anyway, Britain, good luck. We have our own problems, or I'd offer to help you.
Yeah, you guys are on your own.
We're getting ready to make Kamala Harris president. Although I don't know if you noticed, Jack, in the last few days, the fervor's died down quite a bit.
Yeah, they're going to do everything they can to hide her because it's only 90 days. They can do that.
Yep.
But the debates are going to be what matters. If Trump does really well at the debate, doesn't make her look like a victim, then he's got a good shot. But this is all Trump's to lose at this point.
I don't know about that.
I think it's going to be close. It depends on the level of cheating involved and any fuck ups Trump's team makes. Because this is going on with like Aiden Ross and the black journalist thing. It gained him nothing. If anything, it might have hurt him. So they need to get their shit together. And
I don't know if that what you said there about the National Association of Black Journalists. I get what you're saying that it didn't help him, but I don't necessarily think that's true because I didn't see the pushback that I expected to from that. Even the media dropped that one pretty quick because we saw the MSNBC thing where they brought out the black people like, how many of your black friends support Trump? And they raise their hand like, how many have changed their mind since Kamala was named? And they all like, none. I think that the press is starting to get the hint that Trump is more popular with black people than they want to admit. And I wanted to show you a poll. This is an August 2nd through 4th survey from the Morning Consult. And it's showing that Donald Trump, he's losing right now. He's losing. But look at this bottom line. The bottom line is black voters. And Trump has 19%.
It's actually pretty impressive.
That's more than double what he got in 2020. If Trump pulls down 20% of the black vote, he wins this in a walk.
Yeah. Well, look, black men especially understand that under Trump they were doing better. Because now everything's way more expensive. There's not as many jobs to go around because they have to compete with everybody else. If you're a low to middle class male black, you are having to fight with illegals for jobs and probably a bunch of white people too, because there's no jobs anymore. A lot of the jobs are drying up. And look at the stock market crashing. You're starting to see people go, yeah, I don't know. And Cackles is not going to win over a bunch of black dudes. I'm sorry.
And for the record, this is not likely voters. Likely voters is people who have voted usually in like the past 2 elections. This is people who said they would vote. So these are eligible voters. But there's something really weird about you guys know how I tell you polls, there is information that you can take from it, but it is always skewed. If you look at this, the number of people voting for Biden or who would vote for Kamala who voted for Biden is at 89%. The ones who voted for Trump who would vote for him again also at 89%. But that cannot be true if Trump has more than doubled the number of people than the number of black people who would vote for him instead of her.
Yeah.
It cannot happen. Mathematically, it's an impossibility.
Maybe it's Common Core.
And we see the independents. 11% for somebody else, 10% they have no opinion. Really? Jack, how many people do you think right now have no opinion about who they'd vote for?
Maybe 1%.
Even if they could be swayed the other way, they're leaning some way or the other right now.
Yeah. What I've seen from my experience with talking with people recently, it's not the Trump crowd that has the questions. It's the people that are torn between Kamala Harris and RFK. That's what I've been hearing. And I think that is probably more accurate, as people aren't sure if they want to vote for Kamala. But nobody wants to admit that.
The other thing, and I don't know how well you can see it I don't think you can see it at all on the screen because I think your face is blocking it. At the bottom, it says this is a survey from August 2nd through the 4th. Among a representative sample of 11,265 registered voters, with an unweighted margin of error of +1, plus or minus 1. Do not believe any poll that tells you it's a margin of error plus or minus 1.
No, it's almost always 3 or 4 at least.
3 to 4 is about as close as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, I got a couple things I got to grab here. Thank you, Evolved Potato, who says, speaking of South Africa, something I learned recently is that 95% of the black population's ancestors to the country after the white Africans got there. So most black South Africans are more like colonizers than the white South Africans. Yes, the Dutch and the native tribe got along fine, and then the Zulus came in and attacked, and they ended up in a whole thing. But yeah, that's the Zulus, as I recall, that came in. The original population there were, I think, pacifists. There was a great documentary on that a while back, but you're probably going to have a hard time finding it these days. They don't like to talk about that because it's a completely different group of people. And thank you, Frosted. Sharif Ali, so long as the Arabs fight tribe against tribe, so long as they be a little people, a silly people, greedy, barbarous, and cruel as you are. Watch Lawrence of Arabia. That movie was red-pilled about Islam. Yeah, well, back in the day, people used to understand that backward cultures were just that. They were backward cultures. Now, all cultures are beautiful, even if they're a bunch of, like, cannibal savages or something. Thanks, guys.
Okay, we were asked about the Rittenhouse thing, so we'll talk about it briefly, and then I got to wrap up, Jack. Shit, do I have his actual post? So the other day, guys, Kyle Rittenhouse came out and said that he was going to write in Ron Paul's name, and people lost their fucking shit over it. And a whole bunch of Republicans like, we supported you. How could you not support us? And they bullied Kyle into going, oh no, I'm still going to vote for Trump. I didn't realize what I had said. Wait, did he delete it all? It looks like most of it is gone. Here's his I'm sorry I didn't go with the mob mentality like I was supposed to post. Over the past 12 hours, I've had a series of productive conversations with members of Trump's team, and I'm confident he will be a strong ally gun owners need to defend our Second Amendment rights. My comments made last night were ill-informed and unproductive. I'm 100% behind Donald Trump and encourage every gun owner to join me in helping send him back to the White House. Now, what Kyle did, Jack, was point out Trump's gun record. You guys don't have to like this, but Donald Trump does not have a good record on guns. You know, the bump stock ban that just got overturned at the court? That came from Trump's administration with Trump's full support.
Yep.
At one point, you have to understand that, yes, Trump has lefty ideology. And you can even go out there and say, hey, Donald Trump may have a bad record on guns, but it's still better than Kamala's. Fine. But don't pretend that what Kyle said was wrong. And to the notion that Kyle owes you his fucking vote because you were with him in his trial, if the only reason you were with him in his trial is because you think he was going to support Donald Trump, you're kind of a stupid cunt. I supported Rittenhouse in that trial because I thought Rittenhouse was innocent. I don't give a fuck about his politics. And if the only reason you could defend his politics is because his right to defend himself the way that he did is because you think he's going to be on your side, you don't actually care about the Second Amendment. You're just looking for power. And what could possibly fucking go wrong there? Frosted, thank you. Weird. Kyle had a record of handling mobs well. Yeah, but it's a lot harder to use your AR over the internet. I'm fine with people saying, hey, Kamala's still worse than Trump, but that's not what happened here.
Yeah.
All right, Jack, I step
but-
on there, but this one irritates me.
Kid expressed an unpopular opinion. He's young. I don't care. I don't care about any of this. This is a non-controversy. I don't give a fuck who he votes for.
I don't even care about his unpopular opinion. It's not one goddamn person who came out against Kyle was like, you're wrong about his record. Because they couldn't.
No,
it literally was tribalistic bullshit.
Of course it was. But also, he is working with some company that is known to be anti-Trump, and I suspect there may have been some influence there, and he's worried that he won't be able to get another job or another sponsor.
Sure.
So maybe he did it for them. I don't know, but like, kid's got enough problems.
Well,
I don't give a shit about any of this. This is stupid.
I think who he said he was going to support instead, Ron Paul, tells us he's not just some fucking weirdo liberal.
Yeah.
He didn't say, "Hey, I'm gonna go support Kamala Harris here." The backlash against it, not one goddamn person addressed what he actually said. It was just, "Hey, we supported you, so you have to support us." Which I will remind you is what Vauch's audience said when Ethan Klein said, "Hey, child porn is wrong." Wait, he supported you before, so you should support him. And we all laughed at it because that's fucking retarded. Kyle actually stood up for the Second Amendment. He's the only one in the whole goddamn argument who did. He stood up and said, what Trump has done with guns is not good. And everybody's like, you owe us, bitch. Not one motherfucker gave a good reason why he should vote for Trump. And they just bullied this kid into it and called him a traitor. And we're talking about ruining his whole fucking life because he had a different opinion and actually had fucking principles. The lack of principles is the problem in this country. Dangerous, thank you. Kamala didn't show up for the black journalist because she thought it was called No BJ and thought, well, how am I going to win over voters? By the way, why Harris was kicked out of Situation Room, if you know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows why she left early. Anyway, there's my take on the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. I was so annoyed reading this shit online. If you care about the Second Amendment, you should be on Kyle's side, even if you still support Trump. You should, because he was right. If you cheered the overturning of the bump stock ban, you should be on Kyle's side because he was right. Just saying. Anyhow, with that, Jack, and my blood pressure through the fucking roof, I'm going to wrap this one up.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go say hi to my wife, and I might even do a game stream depending on how the weather looks right now, because it was raining earlier, but it seems like it's cleared up. So, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thank you so much for the donations. You guys are awesome. Sorry for the long absence there. I don't have any. I do have plans this coming weekend, Jack, which might make us miss a show or two, but probably not 5 again. Anything you want to show out, my friend?
I will drop a link to a cool video or two. As always, thank you for the support. Like Monkey said, the show runs on tips, basically. So your support and your showing up to watch us is greatly appreciated.
Monkey, the guy,
beautiful people. It's just fact.
The guy who did a complete 180 has principles. I said had. They beat it out of him. Guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us, Jack. A pleasure as always, my friend.
Always glad to be here.
Everyone, have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. And if you live in a major city, be careful because Kamala is about to announce that a Jew is running with her. And I have a feeling we're going to have some English stuff going on. So
yeah,
be careful out there, folks. Take care. Have a good one. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye, everybody.
I'm going to end the show because it's time to go. Kamala Harris is a dirty hoe. I get a lot of use out of that line over the next